I'm Jacob with TF Cast with Adam Steinke today of Bent Rivers Outfitters, Solstice, and See-Through Boxcar. We're going to talk about all those today, and we got Willis in the back, and we're going to get right into it. You want to start with telling us a little bit about Solstice right off the bat?
Yeah, sure. Solstice is a outdoor music festival that's held in Mankato. June 19th and 20th are the dates this year. So you can, it's held at Land of Memories Park. There's ticket options available online. You can do the weekend. You can do each day. I've just owned it for 2 years. This is the second year. So we've really tried to remarket and rebrand and try to take it to a new direction of music festivals as far as being more, I would say, regional around this area rather than just a Mankato music festival. So really working hard to work with booking agents and bands to get them to come here and get people from out of the area to come here and enjoy what we have to offer here in the Valley.
Who's on the lineup that you're excited about right off the top of your head?
I just booked May Simpson. She was up at First Avenue, one of the best of the new bands for Minnesota. So I'm real excited to see what she's doing now with her band. Sounds great. She's from South Carolina. I went to high school in South Carolina, so there's a little bit of a tie there. Not too much, but I'm excited for John Wayne and the Pain. He played my first paddle jam, which if you go back in the history of my music festivals, that was kind of the first attempt at a music festival, was a paddle jam. And John Wayne played that first one. It was in 2012. So it's good to have him back. There's just good, Eric Koskinen's playing, the Hoot and Hollers from Missouri. They're a great band. They play down at Mankato. If anyone's been through and saw them play, they're a great live show. Iron Star, they just did Red Rocks. It's kind of like an all-star of bands that everybody knows. They're all coming together to do something, which is pretty cool. I like to see that, and I like working with those guys because they also have music festivals, and we're able to cross-market.
Yeah.
So,
I recognize some of those people from seeing them in other bands on stage, but I wasn't able to know which ones they were off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Do you know what projects they hail from?
Max is from Kind Country. He also, other bands maybe early on, he went to school in Mankato. He was playing guitar. Joe, he's from Dead Larry. So those guys have been a college band around here for years. The girl playing what was she playing? What was that, a cello?
I think so.
Yeah, she plays with Useful Jenkins. So it's kind of like a cast, all-star cast from some of our favorite jam bands.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that show.
Yeah.
And you're still doing the paddle jam, right?
We do still do paddle jam. We just, we thought you put all this work and planning into having an event, and then the river's down too low or the river's up too high. And there was a lot of things that could go wrong. So what we decided to do when we took over Solstice is there's always going to be a music festival at the end, no matter what. So, but Paddle Jam takes place. Don't be late. People miss it all the time. We try to do it Saturday. We take off from County Road 90 at approximately 11 o'clock. That way, if you want to go up to Rapidan and do the full Blue Earth River trip that morning, you can get dropped off up there around 8 and come down and do the 4-hour trip and get to Land of Memories, and then you have a music festival at the end. So it's just a good to join those two events.
For someone who's never done the paddle jam before, what can they expect?
So what we do is we gather at County Road 90. It usually takes about an hour and a half to shuttle everybody because we're doing shuttle trips from the campground. So when you get done, you're at your campsite and you're at the music festival. We take care of everything else. So there's two ways you could park up there and get a ride back after, or park at the campground and get in a shuttle beforehand. And then it lasts roughly 60 to 90 minutes based on water level. We have a pontoon boat with a band, and everybody's riding alongside and hanging out in their little groups and their flotillas and coming down and listening to live music on a pontoon. So that's pretty cool. It's on running water. So that's the hard things about this. But we love it. And when it works right, like it did last year, it's a great event.
Yeah. How many people are floating down the river?
70 to 80, probably. And we want this to grow. And with Bent River, we only have about 50 boats total. So we need people to bring their own kayaks to this event. And that allows us to make that group bigger. And we provide a shuttle. It's included. I forget the ticket price, but if the ticket price to get in, I think includes a shuttle if you want to do the shuttle, because it's all included in your weekend price.
Can people still book through Bent River? You haven't sold out of boats yet, have you?
We did last year. We haven't yet, but we will sell out before the event. So
what's the date of that one?
June. That would be June 20th at roughly 11 o'clock in the morning is when we take off.
Okay.
So, yeah,
that sounds fun.
It's a one of a kind event. So
wow.
Yeah, it's cool.
You said people are floating. Are they floating in canoes, or do you use tubes or things like that?
Mostly kayaks and canoes.
Kayaking.
Canoes are fine. I mean, the problem with a tube is you can't keep up with the people floating in the other kinds of craft. Paddleboards. We have a few paddleboards for rent, so some people will do the paddleboard.
Oh, neat.
So it's pretty cool. Yeah, you got to watch video of it. There's a little bit of video on our festival Solstice, I believe, Facebook or website. So
fun.
Yeah, and what can we expect for vendors or?
We usually we have around 5 food trucks. We haven't nailed those down yet this year. We've been kind of going through some applications, just trying to figure out what we want to do. We are teaming up with Mankato Brewery this year to be our brewery sponsor, so they'll be there at the event. In some sponsorship, some sort, we might have a VIP area, or we do get a sponsor for the paddle jam too. So, yeah, it's so cool. If you can make it. Bring your own boat. I guarantee you're gonna have a good time. So, and we have Caleb Braun Schultz playing this year with a modified band. So,
very nice. Who's played in past years?
We've had probably the most fun one is we had the Last Revel. They played my first paddle jam as the Bitterroot Band before they changed their name to the Last Revel. And then they were actually booked to play the beer festival down at Riverfront Park the year they had the Wood Brothers and a couple other good bands. So they did the paddle jam from Land of Memories down to Riverfront Park, got off the pontoon boat, went on stage, and played their set at the Riverfront Park. So that was probably my favorite. We've had 69 Cents. They're a local cover rock band, and we jammed underneath the bridge for about 30 to 45 minutes with those guys one year. We've had Ocho covered last year because I was going to have the Tinderbox do it out of Sioux Falls, and they had an emergency in the family, so Ocho covered for me, and you can call Ocho at any time and get him to fill in for you. So, but it's a really cool event. We did have to cancel some. That's why we've gone in this new direction. So, yeah, and that's going to be the stage for our late night. We'll talk about that later. So the pontoon boat.
Yeah,
it's a dual purpose stage. So
cool. We were talking a little bit about Solstice. How does one get started putting together a festival like that?
For me, music goes back as far as I can remember. My mom played guitar when I was a kid, so I went to the first Bonnaroo, in Tennessee, and sat in the 15-hour traffic jam to see the Big Woo because they were from Minnesota, and I've been to a lot of those kind of outdoor venues, and for me in Mankato, I think it was a part of the outdoor, being part of Bent River and the outdoor industry, trying to bring in an event here that would capitalize on tourism. Everybody that lives in Mankato, I shouldn't say everybody, because we take people out that haven't been on the river, but most people know about, if they're into outdoor stuff, they know about what we have to offer. But we're really trying to bring the tourism here and make Mankato more vibrant tourism. And I think that's where the music festival came in, is it's been something that I've done I've been to more music festivals or outdoor concerts, not so much music festivals. Over the years, I got all the ticket stubs hanging up on my office from all the events that I've been to, and so it really the planning of it. I took over one. I kind of started my own. It's really just learning how to ask for help and getting people to help you do it. You can have the great ideas, but to actually make it work and follow through, you really need a good team. And I've put together the people helping me with Solstice, including yourselves. I've put together a good team of people that can make it. What I want to do is show up that day and have a good time. And that's the hardest thing for people that run music festivals, to be able to show up and be like, oh, yeah, just going to have a good day with everybody else. And so that's the goal here is to do that. So
you get into it because you like the music and want to experience it, but then find out you have to be running around crazy all day.
Horrible. Yeah. I go to a music festival right after it every year. I take off and I'm like, I'm out of here. So
can you easily enjoy yourself, or are you sitting there taking notes?
Dude, it's so one year it was flooding and we had to move it down to the food truck park. I had to do that in a day. So just imagine moving everything around and pushing people, and so, but I wouldn't change it. I love it. I'll keep doing it no matter what. And it's just one of those things I believe in. And I believe in that people need to get outdoors and enjoy that type of thing. And it's risky too, the weather and the flooding, but when it goes good and there's nothing like it. So yeah, the first Bonnaroo had their problems. I mean, they now it's probably the biggest music festival in the United States, I'm thinking, as far as bands and stuff. But their first year, I just watched it. It was a debacle. It was a disaster. But it was also great too. So, and that's what we want, people to have a good time. That's that's my goal, is people to show up and have a good time and maybe hear some music they haven't heard. And start to enjoy some new bands. So it's kind of my focus, is getting people there to hear and broaden their music horizon.
You mentioned being outdoors and how that's important to you. Is that what got you into the Bent River Outfitters too?
Yes. Living in Minnesota, we have the Boundary Waters. If people aren't familiar with that, they should look it up right now.
Definitely.
Turn your phone off for a week. Go out on a canoe, camp, lose touch with everything. It's my favorite time. That, along with the stretch of river we have here, the Blue Earth River from Rapidan to County Road 90, is one of the most beautiful areas in this geography that, if you can think of it, you come out, that river starts in Iowa, comes all the way through southern Minnesota to Mankato flatland, and then all of a sudden there's a valley. And it's the coolest valley ever. And for this, there's cooler ones in different areas, but for this area, it's really kind of a hidden gem. There's got to be a lot of history out there, so we're just trying to give it a new life and make people aware of the beauty, and not, we sponsor river cleanups and we do a lot of outside stuff. We're not just a business to try to make money. We don't make any money on that business, actually, but what it does for the town, outweighs what any of that stuff. So
what else does Bent River do? Is it just boat tours, or do you offer other kinds of services?
Mostly just boat tours. Like I said, we have the canoes, the kayaks, and the paddle boards. You can have a guided trip where we send you out with somebody that's going to show you the area, or you can just rent the stuff and go on your own and have a shuttle. We'll pick you up, drop you off.
Oh, that's really nice.
So that's nice for people visiting. They don't have to really think about anything. And then we've really concentrated a lot on building programs with, for instance, Minnesota State. We take groups from the college out, and we kind of tailor them to the event that fits the group that they have, the age group, and that kind of stuff. And that's really, working. We've done Bethany, and we've done Gustavus, we've done St. Peter High School. So just working with programs on that stuff, the YMCA camps and that kind of stuff. Because when we started this, we all had little kids. I have a couple partners in the outfitter, and we just wanted them to grow up with something, watching that go on, so that they would take that into their, adulthood and hopefully teach their kids how to do it. So
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
you mentioned the Boundary Waters too. Is
yeah.
that
Oh man.
you've been up there a lot?
Yeah. I haven't been for a few years. Since I started having these music festivals, now I don't have time to go out and enjoy it. No, but I've probably been, I would say 8 to 10 times, and every time different areas and different spots, we've been to the one spot I went back to because the fishing is amazing. If you don't know how to fish, you catch huge northerns and huge walleyes. You learn how to handle them, So it's great area. We got to protect that area too. Whatever we can do to
beautiful.
keep that area what it is. It's kind of it's a treasure for Minnesota to, hopefully we can keep that going.
Yeah. I grew up, credit to my parents, going out there nearly every summer. We'd take family trips. So
yeah,
it's
more
special
important
place in my
now,
heart.
I think, than it ever was to get kids away from all the stuff going on and get them out into, like, what can you do for a day if you don't have a phone,
Yeah.
and get them to hike and come up with things and start fires and that kind of thing. So that's really a part of the outfitter, why we started that, was that and a lot for our kids, get our kids, exposed to that stuff.
The areas are threatened now too. I think they opened up those areas to mining in the last year and a half.
Yeah, we got to protect that however we can. So,
Yeah.
Do you know much about that and what's being done?
I don't know a lot about it. I do get an email newsletter that I probably should. I'm hoping that it'll just fix itself.
Yeah, I didn't mean to put you on this. I'm curious about it and don't really have
not a lot of details, except for that's what I've heard too. And if that's what happens, but I think I heard recently that something got denied, so I felt like it was on a positive note. So
Yeah.
It seems weird that we've got a group of people who are actively trying to take beautiful nature and turn it into a business or make it monetarily valuable to them. But here we are.
It's not right.
I think it's that they want to use they want to get through it. They either want to build a pipeline through it, or they want to do fracking towards the northern border. I don't know. I shouldn't pretend that I know.
All right. Well, let's
move
come
on.
back and do a little research.
Yeah.
But yeah, if someone knows something, send us an email or something.
Yeah, we'd love to learn more. So, see-through Boxcar.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that project.
So, I've owned a guitar for probably 15 years. Like I said, my mom played when I was a kid, so I grew up exposed to music, and she would play in church and stuff. So I've always had that musical kind of instinct, and I feel like I have a ear for good music. I always try to travel around and see different music. But about 3 years ago, I started. I had a life change, and I moved out of my house, and I moved into an apartment, which I had my kids half the time, and I didn't have them the other half. So when I didn't have them, I just started playing guitar. Just that's what I would do to pass my time. And through that process, started writing songs, which was scary to think about writing your own songs and playing your own songs in public. But I've compiled about 10 songs now that I've written myself, and I've started to play them in the order that I feel like they would if they were ever recorded on a record, that I would do that. And I've been practicing them that way, so it kind of has a life to it. I love listening to albums and vinyl and the story, and kind of you don't get that when you're hitting shuffle play on your Pandora or whatever. It's just you're not getting an album for what it is, which to me it's a story of this part of my life, those 3 years, and I can't wait to keep writing more songs, because it's really people ask you, how do you write a song? And I don't even really know. It just kind of comes to you, and you have a thought. Maybe you've been messing around on the guitar. So See-Through Boxcar is it. Where that came from is I was sitting out on a railroad in front of a railroad track one day, and me and my buddy are sitting there talking, and I'm like, oh, See-Through Boxcar, that'd be a cool name of a band. And that was like 20 years ago. And then he saw it on Facebook that I actually posted See-Through Boxcar was playing. He's like, what is this? What is it all about? And it's not really a band. So what it is it's me going out and playing music live somewhere. And what I've done over the past 2 to 3 years playing live is I've invited different people to play with, because I've got about 2 hours of music and then I'm done. And I like playing like 45 minutes of music is about perfect. So I'd share the stage a little bit with them, and then we'd share together and play some songs together. And it kind of, it's this idea that traveling around to, like, say, small communities on a weekend night and just popping up in and going, hey, I'm going to play, I'm not booked or anything. It's this thing that I've constantly thought about doing. And just bringing some, excitement to a crowd that doesn't even know what they're going to expect, and see through Boxcar. So what it is, you guys remember, I don't know if you've seen the documentaries, or back in the day, the musicians would jump on a train and they'd cruise to the next town. When they're on the train, there's a bunch of people on the train and they all got their instruments and they just start jamming and playing each other's songs. And that's kind of the thought behind it is, if I had a band, I'd have to try to get them together every time I played. See through Boxcar is whenever anybody's available, they can join in. So it's kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of a variety show of sorts. So, and sometimes it's just me. So
that's nice.
Yeah, that's the story.
Had you been involved in previous projects like bands or?
No, this was it. So when the food truck park opened in Mankato, I don't know how many years ago that was now, 2.5 or so, I played the opening gig there. I was the first musician, and that was my first gig, live performance ever. And I helped, facilitate that place. I drew the plans. I draw floor plans and stuff for a living. I'm a space planner, is what I call myself. So I had kind of created that plan and put the stage in, and so it was fun to go and actually.
Was it your idea to put the B backwards?
No, that was not my idea.
You want to call us? I don't. It doesn't bother me, but I hear people complain about it.
Yeah, I've even seen it disappear for a while because somebody was so angry that the B was backwards. But
yeah, someone turned it around.
Yeah, somebody turned. Yeah, there was just bolts, and you could unbolt it and move it around. So it's artistic expression from the owner, but it's fun. Yeah.
So what? I asked about whether you'd been involved in previous projects before, because you mentioned coming around to writing songs. And I think oftentimes it feels like people who are in bands were in bands when they were a young kid and like kind of came up doing that. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel like it went for you getting into it when you're an adult?
It's hard to explain, but I always tell people, like, when they ask something like, hey, how did you do this? For me, this has been kind of a natural thing where I feel like it's what I'm supposed to be doing, if that makes sense. I had a lady last week that came up and tried to give me a tip, and I don't have a tip jar. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this because I'm supposed to. And she looked at me like, whoa, yeah, that's weird. And I'm just like, you can slip the money under the beer glass if you want, but I don't have a tip jar. I'm not out to, I don't do this. I think I'm doing it so that, I got a new song that starts off here today, gone tomorrow. And it's basically, if I was gone tomorrow, I want to leave something that my kids could remember me by, or anybody, not just my kids, but probably the most important thing is my kids, doing stuff that they, can look. They always rip on me for singing and going out and doing stuff live, but I think they really like it. Like, it's just them kind of giving me a hard time because I'm, their dad, and they don't expect me to go out and start singing on stage. But
are they jamming with you yet?
My youngest one has done karaoke at the Coffee Hag. Okay. Back when he was 6. So he's got a little bit of musical. I got to keep him going on drums and stuff. The other one has no interest at all, so, which is fine. But I really think it's something that as far as the songs that I'm writing, I grew up moving all around. Like, people asked if I was an Army kid. And I said, no, but I grew up just like one. I basically went from town to town. And so I'm pretty sheltered, and I like to keep things to myself, and I feel like the songs are a way for me to tell people, I'm terrible at telling people like what I'm feeling, but the songs, at least I can share that with a group of people, and they can take from it what they want. They can ask me questions too, and I'll let them know. But yeah, and it's fun to find, my next song, what I'm thinking right now is, the feeling you got right before you're going to do something wrong. I want to write a song about that. And I don't know why. Not that I'm going to do anything wrong, but I just think there's that feeling, and it'll people will understand. I think that's what writing songs is about, is having somebody say, "Oh man, I feel that same way," and kind of interacting with people that way. That's how I've enjoyed to find new musicians and people that I respect as songwriters.
I want to rewind just a little bit. Earlier when we were still talking about Solstice, you're like, "Oh, we're getting involved." I just wanted to talk about the meeting that we've had about Triple Falls getting a little bit involved with Solstice.
Yeah.
Some of our upcoming programming is going to be incorporated with the artists through Solstice, and we're going to be there day of.
Yes.
And I don't know exactly what we're going to be doing there, but you can expect to see some Solstice-related content coming out, and maybe some Solstice-related guests.
Yeah, and I'm real excited. Like I said earlier, it's tough to ask for help, but when you have people that are actively approaching and wanting to help, it makes it easier for me to, and I really, as this thing gets bigger and it grows, I really want to portray it as what it really is, which is a family-friendly music festival for all ages. And to be able to do that, I need to be able to show people what it's about, and that's kind of why I think a working relationship, partnership with you guys, we can help do that by introducing our people that are helping, interviewing the bands and getting everybody's kind of thoughts. And most of the bands this year, I have an attachment or relationship with the band. There's a few of them that I don't, but so hopefully through that and interviews and being there the day of, we can really portray what Solstice is and what it means to the community. So
yeah,
I'm excited. So
yeah, I'm excited about it too.
I'm as well. I've been there the last 2 years, one of which we played, and I really enjoyed myself both times. It was a great festival, good energy.
I had a message the other day on Facebook about somebody was asking if it was like, a drinking fest. And I said, no, festivals have kind of changed. They don't allow you to do that as much anymore. You can go to your campsite and you can drink all you want, but in the festival ground, it has to be, stuff that's kind of sold, and so it keeps it down, and that keeps. We don't recommend the kids hang out all night, but we have a kids zone during the day, So then you go back to your campsite and you can still hear the music. Maybe you can slip away and come back in and watch some of the headliners and stuff like that. So it's really about going to a camping weekend with your friends, and there's music and kayaking and everything else involved, and that's kind of what we want to portray with your guys' videos, that we're gonna be able to show people what they can expect, so I don't have to answer some question on Facebook.
Yeah.
I want to be able to just say, hey, go look at this video. We do awesome things. So here,
Jake, I think we got to go camp. We're gonna be out there in tents, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, you have to. That's part of the experience.
I feel like it's already in stone.
I have the everything behind the stage is volunteer and band and people helping camping.
I have a condition. Last year I wasn't able to find a cup of coffee.
Oh no!
You need to get one of these food trucks to bring a cup of coffee.
I think I can work on that. I have an option.
Yeah, so. I went to all of them and I ended up drinking a Diet Mountain Dew because I couldn't find any caffeine.
Well, noted. We need coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have some great food trucks this year. We're gonna have some through my other business when I design restaurants and stuff. I'm going to invite a few of those people along to serve food and stuff. So really kind of personalize it to what people that I know are doing good things and making good food. So,
yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to be a part of it.
Yep.
Is there any other projects you got going around town that you want to talk about?
That's Probably about what I've got going on right now. I can't really think of anything else, but
I've got one last question if we're ready to wrap it up, but yeah, I'll fire away with that.
Sure.
Okay. So I'm curious about what you would recommend for people who live in or around Mankato and want to explore more nature. What you would recommend places that they could go, different activities that they could find.
Well, definitely check our open shuttle for Bent River in the summer. We run every weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So you don't have to have a group. You can just show up and take the Blue Earth River trip from Rapidan to County Road 90. Shuttle service included. That's a must do if you haven't done that yet and you're from the Mankato area or you're living here while you're going to school or whatever. You need to do that trip because that's really the inspiration behind probably me starting that business and where we're at today with everything that we're doing, Solstice and all that stuff kind of spurs out of that. So you got to do that. There's a new park on the south side of town, the Red Jacket Trestle or Red Jacket Valley Park, I believe they call it. There's a old gravel pit there in some space. Some spots it's 30 feet deep. You can go out there and kayak. You can paddleboard. You can swim, fish. There's a trail around the perimeter of it. I believe they have a plan to provide some more camping. More primitive camping out there. One thing that I think this area is lacking is outside camping options. Besides Land of Memories in Rapidan and a few spots at the state parks, there's not a lot. And I think a plan to have more of that is in place for our area. But the south of town is a great area to just travel around Rapidan Park. You can camp out there, fish that's basically at the base of the dam. North of town, I really enjoy 7 Mile Park, hiking out there, elevation change and just different areas to travel and lots of trails too. So if you want to get out and do some hiking, it's great for that. So yeah, get outdoors, people. It's kind of, it's the one thing in life that's free. Not the one only thing, but
one of the better ones.
One of the better things, yeah.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Well, where can people find more about See-Through Boxcar and your projects and Solstice?
Solstice, we have festivalsolstice.com is our website. So you can go on there and it has all our information. We do have a Facebook page that's probably our most up to date, the recent post on that. The Bent River has www.bentriveroutfitter.com. So it has all of our information, our maps on that. See-Through Boxcar, I don't even have anything yet. Today was my first time I even plugged in and did like a recording, so that was kind of fun. Adam Steinke is my Facebook. I post all my stuff on there. But maybe someday I'll get some content and maybe start a Facebook page. We'll see how it goes.
So now I guess you can search it on YouTube and find our video.
Yeah. So now it's getting out there a little bit. So I'll probably have to start looking at that. That's just more things I have to do, and I've tried to make it a point to do less. But that's some things you have to do. So
yeah.
But yeah, I do. Hey, it was fun. I really like what you guys are doing here, and appreciate you letting me come in and talk about these things that mean a lot to me. So it's good to share those with everybody.
Well, we're glad to have you, and thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah.
Thank you,
guys.
All right, fade it out. We're good.
Woo! Yeah, how long was that? You don't want them to be too long.
That was
that'd be like 40 minutes.
30 or so.
Yeah, that's about right, I think.